there! I didn't see you come in. Welcome. You just stumbled onto an episode of the Are Kinda Bad podcast. Ah, man, strap in, you guys, because today's is going to be a doozy. We are doing...
Velocipastor!
Yeah. Sarah's very excited about this title. It was something special because we saw this one at the Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival.
It was fantastic.
Shout out to Greg Lamberson for that awesome festival and bringing this awesome movie
Thank you,
to
Greg.
the festival. And we chose this one specifically just based on the title.
Right.
Like, we didn't see the poster. We didn't bother to look up the trailer. We saw the name of the movie, and we're like, yeah, that's us.
That's a winner.
Yeah. And man, were we right. Spoiler alert. All right, so let's talk about the IMDb deets. So we're going to shift into Grindhouse for this. We have Alyssa Kempinski and Gregory James Cohen star in Brendan Steers' Velocipastor, running at 75 minutes, billed as a comedy horror. To be released in 2018, maybe sometime. I hope it gets released soon. Because you can't watch this movie yet, you guys.
I know.
Just chase it on the festival circuit.
Such a bummer.
It also stars Voltaire.
Oh, yes.
You guys know Voltaire. If you don't, look up Voltaire, Murder the Man Upstairs, or Being Evil. He's a Renaissance dude, like... Or maybe you've taken one of his animation classes and you're like, I know who Voltaire is. He gave me a C+. I hate him. But yeah, Voltaire's in this movie and he plays himself.
Yes.
Yeah, he pretty much plays himself.
Which is awesome. It was a character created for him. It was perfect.
Yeah, it's like, and then did they shoot that in his apartment?
I hope so.
It's like, yeah, he already has all of that stuff. And he's like, yeah, come over. Yeah, because when you have... Oh, man, like, I just want to see, like a Voltaire movie where, like, people bring their paranormal problems to Voltaire.
Oh, man.
And he just escalates them, like it happens in the movie.
Yes.
And then, like, it gets worse, and then he sits there and laughs. And that's the show. Each show ends with him making it worse and laughing about it.
Yeah. People still continue to come to him, though.
Oh, man. Voltaire, you're fantastic. Anyway... So yeah, those are the IMDb details, and some bonus stuff. You're welcome. Let's talk about what is the plot of it's kind of in the title, but what's the plot, Sarah?
All right, well, IMDb, we have the plot of, after losing his parents, a priest travels to China, where he inherits a mysterious ability that allows him to turn into a dinosaur. At first horrified by this new power, a hooker convinces him to use it to fight crime and ninjas. This may be the first time that we've had a plot that describes exactly what the movie is about. I have no beef with that. It was super well summed up. And
think of like a way to twist the log line into like something nonsensical, because that's exactly the movie.
I think it
that's what happens.
Well.
Yeah.
That would convince me to watch it.
Nice job. That's a solid elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the plot time starts with what works. That's something that works is the plot.
Yeah, hilarious.
Nice.
All right, nice. Then I guess we should just move into what works. Sarah, do you want to go first with what works?
I have the comedic pauses because they were amazing. Nicely done.
Yes.
Just perfectly timed, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, man. I wish there was a little bit more time in the Q&A because I wanted to ask the director... Because he was saying we got to sit through a Q&A at the festival. The director was there, his dad was there, and Gregory James Cohen was also there. And they're talking about like the rehearsals and how some of the great lines, which we'll get to later, came out of the rehearsals. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask like how long it took them to get like the comedic timing beats down. Specifically, there's a line where Greg playing Doug Jones, is that?
It is Doug.
Yeah, Doug. Is he named Doug Jones because of Doug Jones being the monster guy who's like constantly in monster costumes, and then he doesn't get whatever. There's a pause that Greg has where he stops for like what feels like 2 hours and then delivers his next line.
I was like, oh, how embarrassing the movie stopped.
And it is, oh man, just had me cracking up. Like
that
both
one
of
in
us.
the freeze frame,
Oh yeah,
which
like
is super great at the end.
This is another the freeze frame, of course, that you have to throw in a movie like this. I really enjoyed this movie's use of like the background characters and then giving background characters extensive backgrounds shortly before killing them off. Like,
Here's everything you need to know about this character's life.
yeah, like this movie really spends a lot of time just meandering. Like there's an entire flashback Vietnam sequence for seemingly no reason. You can also make an argument that it develops that character in a way that. Let me back up a little bit. The other priest at this church with Doug, played by the director's dad, is seeing the change in Doug and is concerned for him. And you're wondering why he doesn't just turn him in or kick him out of the church or whatever. And this flashback actually kind of explains that in a way.
It was like a great little side short. It tied into the story, but it felt like its own thing. Like it was just so hilarious.
Yeah.
Its own thing. I'm going to piggyback off that because that type of scene and that type of comedic pauses reminds me of Kung Pao quite a bit. And I know there's ninjas in this one too, but like the ninja training scenes. But ninjas aside, just the way that it was shot reminded me a lot of Kung Pao.
Oh yeah, because there's been a bit of a drought when it comes to ninjas in movies. So
not enough ninjas.
Yeah, so this is like not only like a Grindhouse movie, but also like a throwback to the 90s when ninjas were everywhere. So it's a 90s Grindhouse movie. There's our other plot description. I also have down for what works. Any scene when he wouldn't fully turn into the Velocipastor and just the hands would be in action. Oh my gosh, those had us cracking up too. Those worked very well.
Just picture him on a date. They're out at a restaurant. He gets the hands. And he's like trying to eat with chopsticks.
So didn't it also remind you of, because we were watching it, you leaned over and you whispered, you're like, it's like in that episode of 30 Rock.
Oh yeah. Where Tracy Jordan has the monster hand because he's trying to be like Jenna. So they run out of white paint.
Oh yeah.
So they give him a monster claw. Yeah, that was very Tracy Jordan. That definitely reminded me of that.
Do you have anything else for what works?
I just wrote down the dinosaur costume. Well, I like the backstory behind the dinosaur costume, but I also enjoy like the look is just really perfect.
Yeah, there's a lot like the effects also were like just they knew when to just go complete camp. That worked out really well too.
The editing was really nice. Greg brought that up at the festival.
Oh yeah, there's like edited. This is okay. So this is gonna transition us into what the what, because this one I feel straddles what works and was like insanely good in the movie, and then what was going on with it as well is the editing in the sex scene.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lovemaking scene between the pastor and the prostitute, and the prostitute's law student. There we go. Yeah. She's pre-law or something, and this just pays for law school because it's movie world, and that's
what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do. So she's not just a prostitute, is what I'm saying, you guys, and he's not just a priest. He's also a dinosaur, and she's also a law student. Which could be its own spin-off. During the sex scene, the editing just gets insane.
Yes.
Like, there's no other way to describe it other than, like, multiple split screens and the use of colored gels. Brendan just went all out with it. But it dips into what when it starts flashing back through the entire movie.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay. I'm like with the editing when it's just them and like kind of like showing clips of like maybe the meeting and like leading up to this, and it's like, yeah, okay, that might be their thoughts, or like we're flashing back to just their interactions, and then it's cutting to like was it Frankie Mermaid, or what was that the guy, like one character's name?
Yeah, why is she thinking about Frankie Mermaid during this sex scene?
Yeah, it's like, or him. Yeah, it's like, why is he thinking about it?
That's
or like,
even worse.
Yeah, it's like, or why are they collectively thinking about
him?
Yeah, and they think about the rest of the movie that led up to this point.
Yeah,
I mean, it looked awesome, but
we're like, why is Frankie Mermaid in this? What is he doing here?
Why is he thinking of the other priest?
He's like, don't mind me, just keep going.
So that's my first what?
Okay, I have the multi-purpose door where it's used in the scene where she comes in her nightgown and she's bringing him a cup of tea, and she comes in through that door, and then in another scene she's unlocking that door and coming in as if it's her front door. So I'm not really sure if that's like, is that her apartment? Is that her bedroom?
Does she live at a bed and breakfast?
Yeah, when
and
she
like there are other
with
guests.
Yeah. She was with the neighbors.
Yeah, like... And
Cooking,
she,
and then
like,
came over with the tea.
And there's one scene where, like, he comes to her apartment and uses her bedroom door as the front door.
He knocks on it. Hello?
Yeah. So wait, so I guess, the door is to her bedroom or her entire apartment. And then, if that's the case, where did the tea come from? Yeah, that's a good point.
That means she left her house in her nightgown to get a cup of tea.
Yeah, so she brought her own cup down the street to use somebody else's hot water and then walked back with it in her nightgown. Okay. What else do I have? Okay, so shortly before that, so she returns with the tea the morning after the original night when he turns into the Velocipastor. And in that previous scene, she's walking through the park at night, trying to hook and make her way through law school. And Velocipastor, before he's the dinosaur, is also running through the park because he's hungry.
It's the beginning of a Snickers commercial. You're not yourself when you're hungry. You're a dinosaur in the woods.
And this mugger comes up and tries to mug Carol. And she has a line about how if her boss, Frankie Mermaid, catches him, he's going to kill him. Mm-hmm. And the guy's response was like, yeah, me too. And I was like, wait, what?
I'm going to threaten to kill myself to intimidate you.
Yeah. It's like, that's what I came across as.
Not if I do it first.
But yeah, just that line, that interaction was like strange. I may have like missed something else, but it struck me as funny.
Agreed. I have been like branching off of when he gets hungry, he's in the woods. It's kind of like the motive that changed, or like whatever's changing him into the Velocipastor is unclear. Like in that opening scene or that scene with the woods, it's hunger.
Yes.
Then later on, it's anger when he finds out who kills his parents. So it's like the Hulk kind of. So first it's like the werewolf guy with hunger, and then
the Hulk with like getting upset, and then just at will when it's doing like that montage of him just like wreaking havoc on like the bad people.
Right, like total control. He's now controlling it mentally, but like they're scattered throughout, right? Like there's somewhere he has control in between, and then he gets
like there's no Jedi training moments where like he's learning to control it, or like what changes, like no like introspection on like, well, what actually changes me into this? What is the hunger? It's like, do I need to feed it? Kind of like in like Angel or Buffy, where like the character Angel will drink like blood from the blood bank or animal blood to quiet the hunger, because he knows the hunger doesn't go away. So it's like you could tell that there was like a scene where he had to figure that out that we don't get to see, but we see his solution that answers that. This one, no answer. Also, no investigation between like the two of them, like looking for the bad people, or like like doing any kind of like, well, let's see if this is actually a bad person, and then we will have the Velocipastor eat him.
They're like using her experience on the streets just to go by. So it's almost like he's just personally killing bad guys that she knows, or like that treat her bad. So he's kind of like a dinosaur bodyguard.
Yeah, so it's like...
Sounds awesome.
It's like Dino Bodyguard. Because, it's a combination of, like, the criminal element that she's familiar with and the people who confess bad things to him as a priest.
Which is kind of terrible when you say it like that.
Yeah.
Like I know the scene with Frankie Mermaid, he was not remorseful at all.
No.
He was just kind of listing it.
And is that what, like, a lot of the confessionals are like?
Oh, God,
there's another what the one is. It's like, because we could have used, like, more confessional scenes where, like, people are just coming into the confessional and being like, I ran over 3 kids on the way here. I guess I should confess about that. And then, like, again, like, wrapped her hand through.
Right.
Also, there got to be a deleted scene of him, like, fixing the confessional booth.
Actually, that's a good point, because it's almost like because they're confessing after the fact. That's a weird superhero where it's like, okay, I'll kill all the bad guys after they do something bad and they're telling me about it. It's like, aren't you supposed to stop them from doing it?
Yeah.
Not like after the fact, you're going to pay. It's like, I know it stops them from anything in the future, but it's kind of like, hey, because you did this, I'm going to find you later.
Is it my turn? Is it your turn?
Whose turn is it?
Is it my turn? Oh, okay. So another one of my what the whats is the original Dino Warrior back in China, who's like on the run from like ninjas, and she's got like the ember rock thing that eventually turns him into the Velocipastor. She has, I'm assuming, because she has that thing, has the power to turn into like the dinosaur. So she's being chased by these guys. Why doesn't she turn into it to like fight them off? I mean, I know it's to move the plot forward, and so she can die, and then he can get the thing. But it's like,
was she not in control of it? Because that would have been like all three things that would have turned on. Maybe she wasn't hungry, but that would have angered her, so that would have set her off.
yeah, was she not like one? Did like somebody else give it to her, and she just didn't have a chance to like use it to turn into? And can other people use the rock to turn into the like? Not the Velocipastor, that's specifically just him because he's a priest, but like to turn into a dinosaur? I don't know. Yeah, what are the rules here?
Yeah, because it's not like they got bit by a dinosaur and now they have like Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, it was like bit by a radioactive
I'm
dinosaur.
This rock and now I will transform into a dinosaur. I don't know. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Just like in proximity of the stone, are you a dinosaur?
I don't know.
So does he not just hold the stone?
Also, where was she going? Just running through the woods.
Yes.
Like she was like on her way to like destroy it, but she was being chased.
Yeah.
But like.
But also, where was he going? Where was anyone going in that?
Just your average wandering through the woods.
No big deal. I have priest and prostitute have the skills to fight off several well-trained ninjas. Like what?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Why?
So yeah, I mean, because they need to defend themselves. But yeah, they have, because like every time we see the ninjas, they're in the background training while like the two main guys, like the villain and his sidekick, are talking and laughing. But the ninjas are training. Maybe they're just training really poorly.
That would be the Kung Pao thing, right? Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Like, where they train them wrong to be funny.
Oh yeah, they trained wrong as a joke. So they're training all of their ninjas wrong as a joke. It's like between law school and crime fighting and hooking, when did she have time to also... I mean, I'm assuming she would have taken a couple self-defense classes, I guess, like if she's going to be hooking on the mean streets of Pennsylvania.
What's the priest's deal then?
We could do like a prequel where like in China, maybe, he was like learning Kung Fu. Oh yeah, by the way, he went to China because his parents blew up in a car. Not a what the what or anything. Yeah, it happens right at the beginning of the movie. But yeah, because like I realized we didn't answer him like, why is this priest in China? And that brings me to my next what the what. Why would he go to China? He's a Catholic priest. You'd think if he was going to go somewhere to, like, clear his thoughts, like, and his parents died, he would go to maybe, like, the childhood home. Or he would go to Rome and the Vatican, like the Holy Land. Or Israel. It's like, how did China end up on his list? Yeah.
To walk in the woods, I guess? China has the best woods.
China has the best woods to walk through.
If you're going to walk in the woods, point. Go to China.
Yeah. Check them out on Yelp. They got a 5-star review, those Chinese woods.
They're going to say Google Maps.
On Google Maps, yeah.
Oh, man. That's all I have for What the What.
Really? Okay, I have a couple more. There's a time jump that happens right after he gets the Ember. So the original Dino Warrior dies. And he gets the thing, and the bad ninjas are still, who were chasing her, are now chasing him because he has it. And then he kind of takes like a tumble, blacks out, and comes to back at the church. And I looked it up. So it's a 12-hour flight to get to China.
Right.
And that's not including waiting around in airports, etc. So there's... I guess
just
like
in the air. Ugh.
Yeah, it's like yeah. So I mean, connecting flights and all that stuff. So it's like there's just missing time, and also how did that guy, the bad ninja who was chasing him, not catch up to him, or is that the first time he actually turned into the Velocipastor? And then he blacked out, and it was like the Velocipastor, like getting on the plane. Or swimming across the ocean. It's just time completely, like, unaccounted for.
Actually, speaking of time, is that plane that they're on a time machine? Because is that China today, or is that China, like...
Oh, yeah, because they're using, like, bows and arrows.
Yeah, like, what time period is this?
Undetermined. So, yeah, there's... that was another one of my what the whats. Another one was the dino suit. I feel like we could start a great Velocipastor debate as to whether or not that dinosaur is a T-Rex or a raptor or a completely different dinosaur. I feel like only Sam Neill would really be able to chime in and like let us know, like, Dr. Grant. Trying to make a Jurassic Park joke, you guys.
He's looking at my blank face. That's why
So we need to consult with Chris Pratt, but let's start the debate. Is it actually a velociraptor or is it a Tyrannosaurus Rex? You decide.
I'm going to throw in a crossbreed.
Ooh, yeah, it's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
Jump back to that joke.
Any questions?
All right, so now that's it for What the What's. Let's move into awards and grades and quotes, if any. I don't know, I always put that in there as like an optional thing. We always have something to say about this. What do you have for this segment?
I have a quote. It's definitely like, I think we said it was like the best quote of the movie.
Yeah.
Carol says, "I don't know a lot about God." And Doug responds, "I don't know a lot about dinosaurs."
I like your Doug impression.
That's not at all what he sounds
yeah,
like.
not at all. But yeah, that was the best quote of the movie. And tonight, and that entire day.
Worst impression, best quote.
I'm giving this the best use of comedic pausing in a movie.
Agreed.
They nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
And like a couple times, and it got me each time.
Yeah.
Just really great. So let's move into our fan theories. This is my dino noise. You want to go first?
Yeah, I have "There is no Velocipastor. It's just a guy in a suit." Inspired by Mallrats, obviously.
Yeah. So you're saying when he was in China, he picked up a dinosaur suit at like the gift shop. And then just like came back and like puts it on and cathartically work out his feelings about like his parents' murder.
The dinosaur just represents his anger.
Yeah. So that's a fun fan theory.
Yeah. What's yours?
Let's see. I have turning it into a TV show. Just like, because I want to see more of the crime fighting duo of those two and how her law powers could work. Like, I thought, like, maybe, like, at the end they were going to have to, like, try him. Like, there'd be a court room scene. And it's like, well, you've murdered all these people, Pastor. And it's like, who are you going to get to represent you? And then, like, she steps forward and she's like, it'll be the case of a lifetime.
Maybe that's why she's going to law school.
Yeah, it would be Law and Order, but, like, with the lawyer prostitute and the raptor priest.
It's terrible that I want it to be, like, an animation.
Speaking of animation, that is connected to my recommended viewing. So let's move into recommended viewing. I'll just jump into mine because you mentioned how it would be cool if it was animated, and you know it is animated on Adult Swim, I'm pretty sure, is Black Dynamite.
Oh.
Based on the 2009 movie by Scott Sanders starring Michael J. White as Black Dynamite, the title character. So they made an animated series to bring it to TV, but it was a live-action Grindhouse-y movie, and it's amazing. Go watch it, find it, check it out. What do you got for recommended viewing?
I have Anonymous Rex, which is a backdoor pilot for a TV show where the dinosaur fights crime, so you know it's good.
Yeah, that was a failed that's on YouTube. You can go watch this right now while you wait for Velocipastor to come out.
It's worth the wait.
Yeah. So it's a person, and then he can turn into a dinosaur, and he solves crimes, and there's secret dinosaurs. Like, it must have been in around, like, the Mario Brothers movie, where, like, they're like, oh, like, you could be a person, but also secretly a dinosaur. Like, the plot is very similar. So let's also throw in the Mario Brothers movie. Watch that.
Sounds like an episode of Maury where it's like, I'm not really a boy, I'm a dinosaur.
And I solve crimes. So I think it's safe to say this is our kind of bad.
Yeah, definitely. Hands down. I was sad we couldn't watch it twice. Like, if it was showed again, I would have just stayed there.
That wraps it up for the Velocipastor episode of Our Kind of Bad. Sarah, how can people find us?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or you can email us at ourkindofbad@gmail.com. Send us any links to films you'd like us to watch. We would love them.
Yeah, do it. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.